Wizards of the Coast did something stupid. Surprising, I know.
Dungeons and disaster. That is the topic of today's video. Hasbro has decided to sever ties with Random House, the company that distributes D&D. It's not the only company that distributes D&D, but it is the biggest. They're also ending their partnership with Judge Academy, the company that trains judges to run Magic organized play. And as of January...
Didn't they already show complete and utter disrespect and not caring about judges in general? So this just seems the logical next step, honestly, right?
2024, Troll and Toad will stop selling Magic cards altogether. This past Friday the 13th, Hasbro stock closed at $55.90, down from over $100 2 years ago. I think the all-time low is $49 or so. For those of you unfamiliar with the stock market, the idea is to make money. Up is good, down is bad, and losing half your money in just 2 years is an unmitigated disaster. So can Hasbro pull out of...
That is true. And my hopes is that Hasbro gets bought by someone. Because the moment you get bought by someone, the stock price goes up. Because I have stocks in Hasbro.
Their death spiral. That is what we're talking about today. And if you don't know, I'm Professor Dungeon Master. And this channel is about all things role-playing games. And if you don't like this sort of sordid clickbait, I also have practical content. Like my adaptation of the classic module The Lost City with Bob World Builder, Baron DeRop, Trevor Duvall, and DM Scotty. I also have a video about the module that changed D&D forever, coming out in just 2 days this Wednesday. What is it? Well, you'll just have to wait and see, but it's one of my best videos, so stay tuned. All right, let's unpack these 3 major events. We got Judges Academy, Troll and Toad, and Random House, and all of these deals are set to expire in January 2024. And if you recall,
that's
that
pretty
was
close.
An important month with the OGL scandal. Remember that? That was a thing last year. And January 2024 was when those extra fees were going to kick in for those Kickstarters that used the D&D system but raised over $1 million.
Oh, that one! Yeah, that one. Remember that one when everyone's like happy? Oh, we win! No, you don't. No, you don't. Magic's just gonna claw those things in slowly and steadily over time, you know? It's the classic, oh, look at that! You won! Yeah, we're not gonna do this thing. And then it's like, okay, this month it's gonna be this little thing, and you're like, who cares? It's just a small thing. It's none of these big destructive things. Next month it's gonna be another one, and at some point it's worse than the original deal. This is how these things go. This is how this is gonna end. It's literally an inevitability. And all of you who are saying, but Pathfinder sales rose 70 or whatever percent. Yeah. Well, it's true that they rose 70%, but keep in mind, that 70% increase is roughly this much versus what Wizards is selling with D&D. There's a difference, you know? 70% increase on this much when the cap is this big. I mean, 70% is a lot, but that's not impressive, you know, on the grand scheme of things.
And that would include Dungeons & Drakenheim from the Dungeon Dudes, and Will from D&D Shorts recently had a Kickstarter that raised over $1 million. We got Shadow Dark raising over $1 million. So that would have affected a ton of people. Now, as it happens, Wizards of the Coast walked that back. But that was what was supposed to happen in January 2024. So this is part of a larger plan. Make no mistake, this has corporate C-suite fingerprints all over it. It is part of the rollout for the next edition of D&D. You can call it 5.5 or 6.0, whatever you're going to call it. They're going to be rolling it out, and they want to make sure nothing can stand in its way. So Judge Academy trains and provides judges, and a lot of game stores depend on Friday Night Magic to sustain themselves. My own local game store...
Fuck the game stores. Fuck Friday Night Magic, fuck the game scores, fuck the collectible cards. I am against all of that shit, okay? I want Arena to succeed. I don't want Wizards wasting their time and printing cards that 70% of the people buying don't even actually play or understand what it is, that they just use it as a speculative investment tool. Okay? I don't like that. I don't want that. I want a better game. So, all of these people can go to hell. I don't care. I'm sorry that probably includes many of you, but I just want a better game, okay? And Magic the Gathering Arena in the grand scheme of things, is less expensive than actually buying cards. You know? So, some cards that you need and have a must-for play if you want to be good at the game probably cost like $250 a set. I can buy, well, pretty much all the cards for that amount of money in Arena. So, hey, I don't care. Oh, it's not physical. I don't care. I'm not gonna resell it.
That seemed to be the only day of the week they were open. They were open till like midnight on Fridays, and they just took like Saturdays and Sundays off. That game store has since gone out of business, and I have a feeling that's going to be the case with a lot of smaller game stores if they're not running Friday Night Magic anymore. To me, this indicates that Wizards of the Coast is shifting toward Magic Arena. It is a slow migration over to a digital version of the Magic game. And I'm not...
Hey, I said this when it's gonna start. There is absolutely no world where paper Magic is making more money than Arena. I already said that probably 2 years ago, that paper Magic is making less money than Arena. There's a reason everyone does this digital product shit. That's because it literally is a money fun, okay? There's a reason why mobile gaming is so lucrative, okay? There is no absolute way that Arena is not making already more money than paper shit Magic. Okay? In Arena, no one's gonna complain, oh, you reprinted too many of these cards, now the market is collapsing and I can't sell them and make my free tendies. No one cares, bruh. I want a good playable game, not you making money. You making money because you're a speculative investor in Magic is actively damaging me as a player, okay? We are not allies. We're actually fucking enemies. You understand that? We are literally enemies.
I'm not saying Magic or live Magic is going to disappear. People are going to still playing
tournaments,
but I have noticed for the last few years, like at Gen Con,
but slowly,
was
obviously,
back to its
very slowly.
pre-COVID high numbers, and I've noticed the tournament Magic play footprint is getting smaller and smaller. So it does exist. It's still a lot of people, but slowly those people...
Magic is the worst competitive card game on the market by a landslide. The land RNG just pretty much negates any amount of skill that you humanly could ever have in this game.
Are gravitating toward Magic Arena. I know my daughter plays it all the time, and I asked her about it, and she said, well, I could play for 20 minutes between classes or between Zoom meetings. You know, it can fill the time during lunch, and it doesn't take a lot of time, and I don't have to buy the cards. Now, her boyfriend, Joey, hi, Joey, if you're watching this. He still buys the Magic cards because there are those people who want that physical card. But if you notice, the Magic cards...
I mean, I do understand wanting the physical card as a collectible piece that you like and adore because you think it looks cool and things like that. That I completely understand. And honestly, I'm actually completely for that part. But the speculative investment part is the one I have a problem with because that ruins the game. Wizards is not looking at, oh, let's make a balanced game when we're releasing this set. No. They're looking, yes, we need to add cards like this so the investors buy the packs. And that's bad for the game, obviously.
Are half the thickness they were probably 30 years ago when Magic first debuted, and that's because cardboard is expensive and it's tripled in cost over the last year. Talk about inflation. Those board game prices are going to have to go up because cardboard is going up. And if Wizards of the Coast can earn more money with Magic Arena, they're going to do that. Now, I hope Judges Academy and Troll and Toad will survive, and I think there are paths for them to do that. And if you're watching this, anyone from those companies, I think the answer is Disney's Lorcana. That is an exploding card system. People seem to be very happy with it, and the lines for it at Gen Con are just nuts. So that's one of the avenues that I would
That's mommy Maleficent.
Let's talk about Random House. So they are the largest distributor of Dungeons and Dragons. And what a distributor does is they buy the game in bulk and then they sell it to stores which sell it to consumers. And they buy large amounts of the products, allowing them to discount it, which means if you buy D&D books from a larger store, you will get a deeper discount than a smaller game store can provide. If they can cut out the middleman, Wizard stands to earn 10 to 15% more in profits, and that will offset the greater production costs.
10 to 15% more in profits? I wonder what the markup for Magic products is. Oh, wait, I watched Rudy's channel. Yeah, he on average, he says it's around 0% when he's selling to Patreon. But I wonder how it works for D&D, because that's different from Magic, though. Oh, but that's kind of funny.
Of their product. Now let's get into Stephen Glicker's Marvel Comics theory. So if you don't know who Stephen Glicker is, he is the host of Roll for Combat. Mark Seifter and Stephen do a great job on that show. I've been on a few times, and they had an episode. It's the latest episode. It's with Baron Drop of Dungeon Masterpiece and Luke from DM's Lair. And Stephen lays out his parallels between what Wizards is doing in Marvel Comics back in the 1990s. So early in the 1990s, collectors really got into comic books, and comic book companies started producing all these variant covers, like with these 3D foil kind of covers, and the collectors would be buying.
If you know, you know, boys. If you know, you know.
Everything, assuming that in the future those comics would be worth money. But of course that didn't happen. Eventually the market just collapsed and comic sales fell about 70%. One of the things Marvel tried to do was cut out the middleman and distribute their comics themselves, but unlike those smaller distributors, they demanded to be paid on time for their product. This caused marginally performing stores to fail, so Marvel took over distribution only to kill the very stores that were distributing their product. Without Judge Academy and Friday Night Magic, a lot of smaller game stores could be in danger of going out of business. And if that happens, there will be fewer places to buy Magic and Dungeons and Dragons. You will have to turn.
I mean, it's really hard for me to even try and speak on game stores and whatnot, because my country doesn't even have game stores like this as much as I know. There's probably like one or two, but do they even do Magic? I don't know. There probably is something. I know there's like some kind of anime cafe, even we have one of those or something like that. It's pretty wild, but yeah.
Turn to a larger store or a company like Amazon.com to ship the products directly to you. And that might lead to short-term losses for Wizards of the Coast, but they have something...
Amazon is a different subject entirely. Amazon's business model is slowly starting to see, cracks form in it. And, it's questionable how good a long-term partnership with Amazon can even be at this point, because they have issues. They have a lot of issues currently.
Marvel didn't have back in the 90s an internet infrastructure with which they can deliver the products directly to the consumers, which is what they have said they want to do. And I believe
the D&D brand is under monetized. Probably, yes. That's 100% true, by the way. I don't even do D&D, but I know that this is 100% fact. We wanted to unlock the types of recurrent spendings we see in video games. Woohoo! Okay, so that's what they meant with under monetized. Yeah, still fits the category, even though this is objectively evil. Not gonna lie, this is objectively evil, because D&D is not a video game. Well, some D&D is a video game, but the D&D that we're talking about is not a video game. So yeah, recurrent spendings we see in video games. Microtransactions in your D&D rolls. Oof, boys, this is gonna be fun.
Believe they are doing. Wizards of the Coast wants you to buy D&D directly from them, from D&D Beyond. In the same way, you buy an iPhone at an Apple store. Smaller stores will always exist because, well, Apple can't be everywhere, and your small town might not have a game store, but they do have a Barnes & Noble. But make no mistake, Wizards of the Coast wants to manufacture their product and own the means of distribution. So my analysis, I think this is all part of the plan. This is part of the D&D 5.5 rollout. Cynthia Williams, the CEO...
Yeah, this makes sense. This also goes in line with what every other company is doing currently in the world. People are trying to cut out the middleman as much as possible, or become the biggest middleman available, like in Amazon's cases with dropshipping and all of that garbage. But a lot of companies are, potentially trying to cut this out, because most companies have figured out, wait a minute, logistics costs are kind of fucking expensive. Especially nowadays with growing gas prices and shit. Huh. Wait. What if it's actually easier just to create our own logistics network? And it is. And it actually is for a lot of companies that are big enough. Like, look at Amazon. Is it already made? Yeah, I think it already exists. But Amazon made their own airline to ship their stuff because, it's less expensive than buying a third party to do it for you.
Wizards of the Coast is not just a former Microsoft executive, she specializes in microtransactions. She's said that D&D is under-monetized, and microtransactions related to that VTT are obviously the way that they are going. This isn't my theory. They've actually come out and said this, that D&D is under-monetized, and that digital is the way forward for them. They've got the new VTT to challenge Foundry and Roll20, and as Stephen Glicker on Roll for Combat points out, they also have D&D Maps, which functions as a simpler tabletop, and you can get that, I think, for your regular subscription fee from D&D Beyond. And Steven has a high opinion of it, so good on them. They've got two versions of the virtual table.
Well, yeah. Obviously, if they want to go digital and they want to use the microtransaction thing, yeah, they're going to implement all the things you see any other company do. They're going to make the stories, they're going to make the maps, they're going to make the things, they're going to create the place where you play it and then add DLCs to it. Yeah, that's what they mean by this. Pretty simple, right?
Top, one that is more like a video game, or will be, and one that is simpler and resembles more like a flat map. They are slowly going to migrate Magic the Gathering online and slowly migrate Dungeons and Dragons to your phone. That's ultimately where they want it to be. I also believe that Wizards Hasbro is such a large company, they're going to be able to win by attrition. They can just grind it out until their products become profitable again. There are some people online who will say...
Now, I don't want to get into that one, but that's a dangerous notion. The grinding out notion is very dangerous. Their stock price already, as he stated, dropped 50%, which means, well, hostile takeovers, ahoy! And the idea of grinding things out just means that the price is gonna, in short terms, drop. And by the way, when I say short terms, in this case, a short term is 2 to 3 years. And if Wizards allows their stock price to keep going down for like 2 or 3 years, and it ends up at like 30 or something, someone's just gonna buy them. Okay? Someone is just gonna buy them. Because Wizards is still gonna be the biggest name in certain regions. Well, not in certain regions, but in certain circles of, people. A huge margin of people, and someone's gonna say, yeah, we can do better than Wizards, let's just buy them out, this is a great investment. Bam. So this is very I don't think this is happening. The Wizards is now pretty much committed probably for any kind of gain in stocks that they can, because if they continue going in this direction, it's just gonna end horrid for them.
Say that, well, maybe they'll sell off D&D. I don't think that's going to happen. Hasbro owns Micronauts. They haven't sold them off. They're just going to sit on that IP. That's what Hasbro is. It's like a big IP farm.
Oh my god, how many times have we already heard this? Oh, maybe they're going to just sell it off. Maybe Amazon's going to sell Twitch. Yeah, maybe Amazon's just going to sell Twitch. Yeah, who knows, right? Yeah, sure, buddy, sure. Wizards is just gonna sell Magic off. Sure, yeah, okay.
And here's my prediction. This is long term now. It's not for the next edition of D&D, but future editions. I can imagine where the IP is farmed out to an independent book publisher, and they publish D&D books, much the same way that Games Workshop owns the Warhammer world. But they licensed that out to Cubicle 7 to produce Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay. That's what happened in the early 2000s when Wizards of the Coast farmed out Dungeons and Dragons magazines to Paizo, and that company ran with it and built an entire company around it. When you hire people, you have to pay them salaries and a lot of benefits and vacation, and it's easier to just farm that out to an independent company. In my opinion...
essentially what this guy means here is pretty simple, okay? You just give out your license for someone to do. Not for free, by the way. The licensing costs, and then you can even get a cut of the sales that they make from their things. There's options there. There's a lot of options for that kind of stuff, right? But the thing about this is, if you're a large brand, you don't lose anything. They're going to try and capitalize on the name, and if it succeeds, well, people are going to like it. And guess what? That company is not going to receive all the glory. You, the rights holder, are going to receive the majority of that glory, because it's your IP. Because this is what people liked. Sure, they liked the game that company created, but the IP is where they get you. And that means that company is giving you free money and free new users. That is essentially how it works out. Kind of insane. Really good if you can manage it properly.
The future of D&D is going to be primarily a video experience, with TTRPGs as a weird minor sliver of the hobby, in the same way that most people listen to music digitally, but music aficionados still have phonographs. And I'm not hating on VTTs. I understand their place. I know people are separated over long distances, and I use them myself. I'm just saying that if you can connect players all around the world in different countries without expensive cardboard, worrying about distributions or tariffs, then you will win. So I think eventually Hasbro will recover. I can't tell you how low their share price will go, but they're essentially too big to fail. The D&D IP has value in and of itself. There are so many people...
I mean, yes, Hasbro can't technically fail because they're not going to go under.
Only play D&D. They refuse to play anything else. That, I think it is a game that is not going to die. And it's the same thing with Magic the Gathering. And I'm not saying every distributor is going to disappear or books are going to disappear. D&D books are still going to be a thing, and they're going to be a thing that collectors own, but most people just use their...
There's always some kind of supplementary thing to anything that's online. Well, almost anything, I should say. There's always something supplementary, something that's primarily online, just so people can buy. You can, an easy one-to-one example, which is kind of hard to probably notice that's a one-to-one example in this case, is, what are they called? Collector's packs for games? Fallout 76 launch with the Tarp scandal, Starfield has the watch, things like that. There are people who want things like that because they're fans of the IP, they're fans of the thing, stuff like that. So that's always going to exist. Collectibles, rarer things, blah, 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 just for the fans. Because it's free money on the table that no company is gonna be willing to just forsake. So if you're actually very thinking, oh no, Magic can't go digital because, well, then I won't be able to buy my thing. You will be. It's not going to go anywhere. Again, they're not going to just leave money on the table. It's just going to be less of the total pie.
Phone. At least that's what I think. What do you think? I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Also below, you'll find links to my own game, Deathbringer, and my Patreon, where you can get tons of bonus content. And I got more videos right here. I'll see you soon. May all your rolls be 20.
Okay, that sounds like an extremely loud outro. Dungeon Craft Boys. Pretty good video, pretty interesting. Hasbro destroying itself and Wizards of the Coast shitting the bed. Always fun in my opinion. It is what it is. Anyway, this was Quizzer Said, and thanks for watching. Subscribe if you haven't already, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.